All right. So we need on camera.
Yes, sir. All right, we live. Ted Hutt. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Back again at the Visa Sun, myself, Greg Harris, and Mr. Banks. Once again, this evening, we're going to talk about the VA claims process after you have filed your claim. I know the title says the new VA claim process because they've shortened the numbers down from 1 to 8 to 1 to 5. But it's still pretty much the same process. They just call it that new stuff. You know how it is. They same day, different stuff, but a new name. So without further ado, here we go. Let's get it on.
All right. Well, I mean, first, let me say hello, everybody. Then let's get right into the situation. Let me mention too before we get started that since the new president has come in, we found out that claims have been stagnated, slowed down. So basically, what we find is a great difference between the adjudication of claims. I mean, they got a thing out here, paper they put out the other day said, in 2018, how long does it take VA to make a decision? And they gave an average of 109.6 days, which is bull crap.
And that's as of today.
Yeah, that's crap. I mean, we find now the claim process is getting even longer and lengthier, and they got more tricks that they're playing on, trying to play on the veterans. Well, the thing is, veterans, you got to make sure you watch your claim processing good. Make sure that you keep up with all your dates when you get your information, documentation from VA. Make sure you get it to your VSO officer, to your whoever representing you or whoever assisting you, to make sure that you get your stuff timely processed and put into play. Because if you miss any of these dates that we finna talk about, or any of these time constraints that VA has on you to get your information in or evidence in, it's very well possible that you could lose your case based upon a timeliness question. And then once that happens, in order to get that claim adjudicated, you must refile the claim. And then once you refile the claim, you got to have new and material evidence.
That's right.
That simply means that you once you have to refile a claim because of deadline failure, then you have to go back and come up with another reason on how you're going to show that your claim, your condition occurred while in the military, because you cannot use the information that you used on the first claim, or you cannot even use your military medical records now to prove your case, simply because of time constraint. Even though in your records it can say blew out my knee while in Vietnam, and then but if you let that time run by, you can't use that statement that's in your record, blew out knee in Vietnam, even though that would prove without a shadow of a doubt that it was service connected. So you got to be cognizant of and on point about timeliness. Don't wait around on anything. As we go along, we'll be trying to put into place and introduce it to a place where you need to make sure that you pay a very close attention to timelines and information and evidentiary standards that VA is trying to set up, because they got a lot of loopholes that get a veteran messed up.
That's right.
And then one other thing that I can say too, make sure you, once you file a claim, don't give up on the first go round when they send you that first decision saying you denied, because they're gonna always do that. That's the whole plan of VA. So let me tell you, VA ain't your friend, Mr. Veteran. VA ain't your friend, because they're doing everything they can to keep you from getting your benefits. We said it here at Avisa. And then let me just, and one thing that we're gonna do here at Avisa, we do at Avisa, as our logo said, to the last disease, the last claim, to the last disability. We fight, and we fight. We're gonna fight till we can't fight no more here. But while we're here, we're gonna fight as hard as we can to see what we can do to get your benefits to the veterans when we assist you in your claim for benefits.
All right. Now, so far we've covered a lot. So what happens once you file a claim? When you come see Mr. Banks, Mr. Cottrell, or myself, Greg Harris, what happens? When you come file a claim, let's talk about what happens. So we sit down and we do the intent to file, or we ask them to do the intent to file. They put it on record. This is supposed to preserve your date of claim. And then after we do that, then we go into what's called the VA form 21-526EZ, where we list all your disabilities that are known and could possibly come in as secondary condition as well. And we put those on there. We put dates and we put times and other pertinent information on this form. So what happens when we send this form in? First of all, where do we send it in at? We used to send it in to the regional office, but then that changed. And once that change happened, now we send it for this area into Janesville. We send it in through fax. Once we send it in to fax, normally within 30 to 60 days, you will begin to receive a letter saying that the VA is working on your claim. Now, once they send you this letter saying that they're working on your claim, one or two things happen. They're either asking you for information in addition to what you sent in, which was probably nothing from the beginning, and that's okay, to go along with your claim, or they send you a letter saying that we're working on your claim and we do not require any additional information at this time, which means that all you simply do is take those two letters, however it's stated, and if it says that action is required from you, you go back to whoever helped you, assist you with that claim in the beginning, and you say, look, this is the letter I received. They'll make time for you, get that letter addressed and get it a claim sent back in with the additional information that they require. If nothing's required, you save it for your records. Now, the very first step after the claim has been fired off to Janesville is that it goes in the process of claim received. Now, claim received is just no more than what I just stated. The VA send you a letter saying we received your claim, we're processing it, we do or we don't need information from you at this time, and then it goes on. And then the second step after that, and then I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Banks, is the initial review. The initial review is when they go in and after they receive your claim, they start looking at what evidence they need, start balancing out with the 38 CFR and the various other forms on how they begin to put the claim together to see which goes to either to grant or deny your claim.
All right. Well, and so let me just kind of do a follow-up here. On the processing of the claim, the way they have it situated with the correspondence agenda that they have, they're saying that probably the amount of time it takes to review your claim depends on the type of claim. Well, let me say this here. I don't necessarily agree with that. I would say it depends upon the process of preparation and when you get ready to file your claim. Now, what does it mean by the process? I mean, it's kind of like going fishing. Presentation is everything. If your presentation is bad, you're gonna have a bad day of fishing. If your presentation is good, probably you're gonna be successful in catching fish. It's the same way with VA. When you send a claim in with the 21-526EZ form, mostly what we like for you to have when we assist you, you need to have already in your mind a written report of what happened while you was in the military. You need to be as detailed, as precise, and concise as you possibly can, because what's happening is when you send the claim in without any information, first of all, now you've already started the process of time delay. In other words, what's happening now is you're gonna find out that when you send the claim in, now they're gonna take 60 days to send you a letter back saying we need additional evidence because you didn't put any in the information when you first set it up. If you send it, if you got, let's say, if you got a 10-page report, for example, attached to your claim, explaining why you got the claim, why you filed a claim for heart disease. Okay, so case in point, I'm a Vietnam veteran. I got heart disease, and I know that for heart disease is a presumptive disease under the NEMA rule, under Agent Orange criteria that was passed in 2010. So if you got heart disease, then you explain in your report, I was in Vietnam such a time, blah 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 blah. I was inundated and contacted with Agent Orange while in Vietnam. Therefore, I believe my claim is a presumptive disease, and I go ahead and spell all that out. Now, you've already saved one step at least from VA having to send you a letter saying, "Oh, we need you to send us a statement in support of claim." So you send a statement in support of claim in the beginning, then you at least got that process out of the way. Instead of having to wait another 60 to 90 days, now I'm going to send this statement in support of claim, which prolongs time because you send that in at the beginning. If they got the evidence, then they can make a decision within 60 to 90 days. Okay, now that's that. Then, and with that type of a process, now VA must respond and says, okay, either they're going to either grant your claim or they're going to deny it. All right. Now, once they deny the claim, then VA is going to have to make a statement and explain why they denied the claim. And in each case, most cases, all of them are different. But then they all are different to the extent that it's a different personnel. But the language that you're going to find most of the time in explaining, and VA explaining why they denied your claim, is just a rubber stamp answer. In other words, everybody get the same basic rubber stamp answer because they went back and looked at no records.
That's right.
Because you didn't send any information in pertaining to your military records. So the bottom line is, first thing that must be done when you processing the claim or preparing the processing the claim, if you don't already have, you need to have your medical records, your military records, and your personnel from the Department of Veterans Affairs in St. Louis. Now, what that also cuts down on time limits by which VA claim, oh, we had this, or we had the information or the evidence in the beginning, we could have got the information to you sooner. I've seen where we've supplied information, all of that on the initiative, and it still takes them 3 years to get your benefits. Doesn't make any sense. But that has nothing to do with what the veteran has supplied to VA. All it has to do with now is that there's either a procrastination by the Department of Veterans Affairs or it's Veterans Affairs failure to process your claims and get them out. Now, I know we got a whole lot of veterans that got claims processed. Well, if the claims are so slow, it's because the VA has not hired the personnel to process the claim where veterans can get their benefits. I mean, it's kind of like those slogans that we look at here at Avisa. You know, VA will string you out, string you along, and it's a case of deny until they die. And I know many veterans have heard that before, and sometimes we wonder if that's not true, because of the fact that's the way when we look at veterans' claims being processed, the stagnant and slow grind out processing of the claim by the Department of Veterans Affairs, even when after you submitted all the pertinent evidence.
That's right.
You know, doesn't make sense. But if I give you all the pertinent evidence with the timelines and the data and the dates and the coordinated information, why then is it taking you another 2 to 3 years from the time we issue a notice of disagreement to the Department of Veterans Affairs with all the data or the evidence that we support to support our claim? Why is it taking another 3 years to get an adjudication just from ROD or from the Board of Veteran Appeals once it's sent to the Board of Veteran Appeals. But here to that, I mean, as far as the timeline, that's the problem. Basically, what we want to talk about, the process. So what do we do? In the processing of the claim, one, if, again, you know what you're going to file your claim for. The best way that we know, and we've tried it and it's been tried, in order to determine what you really need to file a claim for, because we found here at Avisa, and I found also that most of the veterans that come in to file a claim, they don't even know what the heck they want to file a claim for, because they don't know what service-connected disabilities that they sustained while they were in service. I mean, so you ask a case in point, you ask a veteran, well, did you have hypertension in service? No, I didn't. But then when we go back and get the record, you'll see a consistent pattern, especially for those veterans who retired. You see a consistent pattern that was an annual examination that is done for veterans who are lifers, let me say it like that, who show consistently by the medical history and the medical examination that they may have the blood pressure over 130 over 85. That's high blood pressure, folks. That's hypertension. Even though VA may not say it on your particular record in the explanation clause, if you consistently see a blood pressure reading in your medical record above 120 over 80, that is, and once it goes over that level, then you will consider it hypertension. Now, some of them say they use the language of what is that? Borderline hypertension. Well, let me tell you right now, the Department of Veterans Affairs does not recognize borderline hypertension. So don't believe that crap. There's no such. If you 121 over 81, you have hypertension according to 38 CFR Code of Federal Regulations. So just because it's not written in there to say you got hypertension, you have hypertension based upon the numbers and the data that was collected by the Department of Veterans Affairs. So now, what did I do then? Once I then send that information, get all that information collected, then now I process my claim and make the attachment or reference to, because what dates these things occurred. Then I send it to VA. Now, the only thing left in is for VA then is to process your claim by looking at your information and your evidence to determine if the evidence matches or reaches the standard and requirement of 38 CFR or the 38 USC Code of Federal Regulations. Once that is done, then VA has no choice or shouldn't have a choice but to provide you with a disability claim based upon the data and evidence that you submitted.
Right.
However, what we find is there's this procrastination again. I mean, you can have the data there to be right in their face, and they'll turn around and say, well, we don't have any records on it. That's why I said VA is the custodian of the records. So once we get the records from St. Louis or from you or from the VA on the CD, we can automatically go in there and look and see what's on the record. Right. If we point it out to VA, then they already got the record, so all they got to look in there themselves and see the record. Instead, they'll send us a crazy statement back on, we made a decision on your claim, and we find that you did not, this particular, let's say, hypertension did not occur or was not aggravated or was not caused by military service. Now we got to go back again and capitulate, write all this information down to show and prove that by evidence that it did occur while you was in service. The processing of the claim, it is an arduous task if you do not follow the protocol. You got to follow the protocol, because they're going to deny the claim as much as they can, because they're just going to keep you going over and over and over the same old mess.
That's right.
All right, so the question said, how many injuries or disabilities you claim and how complex they are? Well, that's, you know, I say that's a question that's, it's a hypothetical situation. Then at the same time, it is a question or statement that would make it seem difficult or more difficult than what it really actually is. Because like I said, if you have your military medical records, and your military medical records, which consist of the history and the examinations that you took while you was in the service, starting with your enlistment. If you got, excuse me, with those records, you're able to determine that what conditions and what ailments and illness that you had while you were in the military.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. Now, so it's not as complex as it may sound, because once you get the data is going to tell the story itself. So it's critical to make sure that you have the records first, then get someone to help you decipher the information. Because a novice, if you haven't been doing this yet, you'll miss a whole lot of information, not knowing what to look for. So how long does it take us to collect the evidence needed to decide your claim? It doesn't take, excuse me.
Get you some water.
Wow.